In this video, we will see Preference. IMP allows you to set up default environment properties for your setup through Preference. Go to Tools, Preferences to set or change values related to general preference. Product type. You can type the list of products that you process, and while creating a job, you can select the type of product in the Properties window. Based on product type, you can set your planning presets. Directories. You can set the directory or folder that IMP should use when it displays dialogues such as the open, save, etc. There are two ways to set these directories. 1. You can select the most recently used folder, or a path for each file type in the Directories tab of the Preferences dialog. 2. You can browse to set the desired folder path. These two settings can be independently set for file types available in the drop-down menu. You can also copy the settings of a particular file type to all file types by clicking More Action button and choosing Copy this setting for all file types. General. Section numbering. You can set the signature or section index that can be used as dynamic text marks and printed within collation marks. In the Options tab, choose the style of indexing you want from the 4 styles given in the section numbering list. Center fold mark. The fold mark at the center of the signature can be placed under the page content, or it can overprint the page content, or ignored. You can select any of these options to be applied for all the jobs. Preferred job order on layout. Multiple ups of same job on layout will be arranged as per selection here. Compute outline fudge length. For die cut jobs, the cut line in the geometry might not be a fully closed path. These gaps can be closed in defining fudge factor. Station numbering. You can add station numbers to the unbound component using textmark option. In the Options tab, choose the ordering style of the numbers you want from the 4 styles given in the station numbering list. You can select a style and use the reverse checkbox, which will use the selected style in opposite direction. Round up cutoff value for sheets cut from reels. Select this option for whole number sheet lengths in reel sheeting process. Prefer PDF page size while importing CSV format too. Select this option for IMP to consider job size from PDF trim size and override the size from CSV too. Rotate jobs clockwise instead of anticlockwise. When auto-planning, IMP rotates jobs to fit the grain direction or to get maximum sheet coverage. In such case, you can set this option to rotate the jobs clockwise. Position crop or fold marks from trim instead of bleed. The crop marks and fold marks are placed after bleed, but in few cases you might want them to be placed after trim margins. You can enable this option to position the crop and fold mark from trim. Create separate layers for marks during PDF export. If you enable this option, all the marks will be placed in a separate layer in PDF. There will be different layers created for each mark set with same priority. Copy metadata from input PDF to imposed PDF. If this option is checked, IMP will copy all the metadata from source PDF document to the imposed PDF. Change a set component name when PDF is dropped. When you drag and drop the PDF file, IMP will rename the component name to be same as the PDF file name. Preferred derived sheet size for planning. Enable all the derivatives that you need to consider while planning. User interface. Default unit. You can set the default working unit as millimeter, cm, inch. For example, if you set the default unit as millimeter, all the entries in IMP such as finished page size and sheet size will be displayed in millimeters. The default unit is always displayed at the right bottom corner of IMP interface. Note: IMP allows you to enter values in any unit irrespective of the default working unit. Number entered without unit, IMP will consider in default unit set here. In this case, millimeter. However, when unit is entered with suffix, cm or inch, it will convert the value to default unit. Paper weight. You can set the default paper weight as kilogram or pounds. Overrun max out. This is a threshold value for overruns of individual jobs in gang run layouts. IMP will give warning in component queue in plan window in red color in case total quantity of a job exceeds beyond the threshold value. Nudge increment. You can set the nudge increment value. When you use the nudge tool, that is Ctrl+, left or right or up or down, arrows to move the selected object, IMP will use this value. You can use the following options to set up your viewing environment in IMP. Show thumbnails of PDF pages. This will enable or disable preview of thumbnails in user interface. You can choose a resolution for generating thumbnails from the drop-down list. Turn off showing PDF thumbnail while planning will enable or disable thumbnail preview when computing layouts window is open. Custom page labels in content pane. Select this option to view the page labels entered in the component properties in the content pane. Show custom page labels in section pane. Select this option to view the page labels entered in the component properties in the section pane. Reflect content rotation in page labels. Select this option to rotate the page label with the PDF content rotation. Show caliper along with GSM-4 material. Select this option to view paper thickness in material name. Present derived sheet size for selection. IMP will list the derived sheets from mill sheets while selecting the sheet size for manual planning or in layout properties. Content anchors. You can set the default anchor when a PDF page is assigned to the component. You can set any one node for bound and unbound component page. By default it is always center. JDF. Specify a date time with offset. This global setting will include date and time in the JDF. Imposition JDF. Specify full path for imposition marks file. Select this option to include the absolute or full path of the folder location where the PDF marks file like color bar are present. Do not create separate folder for JDF mark file. Select this option if you do not want a separate folder for the marks file. Alternate JDF trim size. Enable this option if you want to take the trim size from a replaced PDF file. Stripping JDF. Ensure signature name in stripping JDF. Select this option to add the signature name in the output. Create single JDF assembly in stripping JDF for ganged layouts. Enable this option to avoid repetitions for similar layouts. Cutting JDF. Rotate layout by 180 degrees for cutting JDF. In few scenarios, the layout reading direction might be rotated. You can rotate the layout in the JDF to match the reading direction. Z cutting JDF. Enable this option for Zund cutting machines. JDF versions. You can set a default version as 1.2 or 1.3 for imposition, stripping, cutting and finishing JDF. Geometry colors. You can set the default line style and color while importing geometry for a packaging job. Here you can set the line type and color for cut, crease and perforation layers. Click on the drop-down menu and select the line style. To define these line styles, click on Line Style. You can see predefined styles, which are editable, and option to add custom pattern. Click on Name and enter a name for the line style. Enter the pattern number. The number defines line and space alternatively in millimeter. For example, input 1 or 0 for continuous line. Input 2 defines 2 mm line and 2 mm space as millimeter. Once you set the defaults, IMP will apply the styles when importing DXF or CF2 files. Estimation. These settings are for the estimation module built on top IMP planning engine. Planning. Remove excess station. If this option is enabled, IMP will remove unnecessary stations, producing extra copies from the layout. Don't optimize orientation for single cuts. Turn this on to disable IMP automatically rotating jobs on layout to create single cuts. Don't gang signature on digital web press. If this option is turned on, IMP will place only one signature, one instance, only on a layout for digital web press. Don't change sheet size defined in LYT. If this option is enabled, IMP will only consider the sheet size of the LYT file. Otherwise, IMP will consider sheet sizes in the material database for planning with LYT files. In such a case, it is not necessary that IMP selects the same sheet sizes as the one in LYT file. Derive smaller sheets by halving shorted side 2. In general, sheets are derived from mill sheets by cutting on the longer side. If this option is enabled, IMP will consider the derivative of shorter side also. Optimize roll cutoff up to 2 mm. IMP will optimize cutoff distance on roll cut sheets to a finer tolerance of 2 mm. Consider cutting cost for bound component planning. If this option is enabled, IMP will consider guillotine cutting cost too while planning bound component. Guillotine cutting cost per layout is calculated by trying all the guillotine cutting machines in the configuration and picking the cheapest cost. Allow portrait layouts on non-portrait press. If you enable this option, IMP will plan portrait layouts considering the sheets will be rotated while printing. For more information, contact us at support@insofautomation.com.